Good morning, good morning. Welcome to my pre-market video. Been a while, a bit late, I'm apologise for that. I've only just got back and I'm just literally reviewing the charts now, just waiting for things to reboot. I had issues with my Ninja trade this morning, not able to log in as well, but it seems to log in now. Okay, so on my screen we've got the ES, which is the loading up the hourly. We see a bit of movement in the pre-market. Let's look at news before we start. So today we don't have much news at all. Oil later, nothing really. Tomorrow we've got inflation rate, CPI, core inflation, and we've got FOMC, and we've got Powell speaking afterwards as well in the press conference. So we should see a lot of movement tomorrow. Thursday we've also got PPI, and Friday we've got consumer sentiment. So I think the best moving days is going to be Wednesday, Thursday and Friday this week. Today might be a bit like yesterday where we didn't really do a great deal. So just look at yesterday. Although it looks like we had a big movement up, big movement down. Let's switch that to yellow. So we had a big move there and then we went sideways. But if you look at yesterday, it's basically an inside day between the movements on last Friday. And currently right now, let's start with the daily. Another inside day right now, so we're looking at a bit of a negative candle to initially start off with the day. So the main area, the area we're watching is 53, this area here at 53.30. If we hold that, then we could be just going sideways, eating time off the clock at these all-time highs. Or if we break down, then we could look for a bit of a pullback. Something to note as well on the daily, we've got low volume coming in while the price is rising and going sideways. So we could be seeing exhaustion up there. We've had a couple of negative candles. We had this basically this red day on Thursday last week. Bit of an indecision candle, and then Friday gave us a big indecision candle. If you look at SPY, which we'll go into in a minute, it looks slightly more bearish, but we could just literally just be putting in a bit of a flag and we're looking for another move up. But reduced volume, far away from the moving averages. We're far away from the 200, far away from the 50, even though we did tag it a few days back, and we do have a bit of distance from the 20 as well. Let's look at the hourly. I'm going to be quick today, I'm a bit delayed, so I'm just going to quickly be as quick as I can. Just making sure we've got screen and volumes working okay. Yeah, that's great. Only because I'm looking at my stream and it says, okay, hang on. That's fine. No comments at all, it seems to be good. So looking at levels, we can see this left shoulder, head, right shoulder, potentially head and shoulders pattern. The neckline could be levels we've looked at previously. 53.48, 53.50 could be the neckline down here, or we could be watching the bottom of this area here for potential neckline area. If this pattern, it's not the greatest pattern, you know, not that defined, but you can see the head and shoulders pattern. So let's get some levels. I quite like the bounce still down here at 53.31. We've got the 200 moving average coming into that area as well, which is slightly rising, almost sideways. Moving back to areas of interest. The reason I like that area, I kind of like that area there originally. We could come and watch that area. Pre-market low, yesterday's low for a potential bounce. And if we lose it, then we could watch for a bounce down at this region as well. 53, so basically 53.50 for a bounce, 53.30-ish, 31 for another bounce. And that will be bouncing from, got that pivot there, we've got area of confidence there, that's why I quite like it. And we've got lots of confidence in this area as well. So plenty of areas, and we've got this volume coming in, and that's why I quite like it, because we've got this big volume shelf there with a point of control running through all this high volume. We bounced off it originally, and we got it right at the bottom of an area of demand as well. So I quite like the bounce. My favourite bounce area today is 53.31 through to 53.26. This area down here. So I quite like the bounce in that area. I consider a high risk bounce around yesterday's low area, or we can look for the break and retest short coming into that area. And that's it really. Rejection wise, we've got a bit of volume, so we could watch up here again like we did yesterday for a potential rejection, pre-market high, yesterday high. But if we're going to put in a new all-time high, we can watch for the break and retest. And just come back, is that all-time highs? Yeah, so all-time highs was on Friday last week. So just to quickly sum up, we can watch pre-market high, yesterday high. So this area is around 53.75 for one or two plays, a rejection, or we can watch it for break and retest long. The break and retest long will be the higher probability play because we're in this massive uptrend, and that'll be going with the trend. If we sell off today, then I quite like the bounce down in the 53.30 area. This region here for a bounce. And we've got areas of confluence, nice areas there, bottoms and tops of candles over here as well. And we've got the point of control and the volume. Let's just bring that over. So that area there, we've got volume, which we can see by looking to the left. So 53.20 to 53.30 for a potential bounce. And then that's it really, to keep it really simple. Let's look at SPY. And one thing just to note as well, I really want to try and not get involved in, wait for the ES to load again. I don't really want to get involved in this chop round here. I really want to see it break down below there or break above there to find an entry. Yesterday I took trades in between, even though I nailed every trade I took. I nailed, where was it? I was ticks away from 3R 3 times and ended up taking 3 stops. Bit frustrating, but that is what it is. So really only want to play on the break on the extremes of this channel. So let's look at SPY next. SPY the same. I quite like the bounce around 5.32, and that's only because we've been down there previously. Let's bring that down. This area, just looking at previous pivots, bottom of pivots, open and closing candles there, bottom of pivots. So I quite like 532.63 for the bounce. Again, we can consider this pre-market high area for a break and retest or a rejection. Obviously wait for confirmation. And then bounce wise, still watching 531.50, 531.43, this area down here. And it's the tops of all these candles. We came into it once. When was that? That was on Friday, and bounced, and I quite like watching that area again. And then if we lose that area, then we've got the bounce coming from, I've got an alert, I'm going to change my alert. This is probably my favourite area for a bounce down here. I can't change that alert, that doesn't matter. Put the alert in there so I can be notified when we get down there. We've got the point of control and the volume shelf to the left. Lots of areas of confluence, tops of pivots there, bottoms of pivots, and we've yet to come back down and retest that area. So I'm watching this area here for a bounce at 5.30. We've got the rise in 200 moving average, the purple line coming into that area as well, and we've got the point of control line and that volume shelf. So that should be a great area to find a bounce. But we only want to find bounces there if the SPX is setting up in the right direction as well. So keep an eye on SPX. So 5300 should be a similar area we were just talking about on SPY. If we come into 5300, I'll be watching that for bounce. I've got my alerts down in those areas as well. Bounce wise, we've bounced off of this yellow line is a 24-year, quite a long-term trend line going back to 2000, and we've bounced it a couple of times, and maybe a third time we may see the same bounce, or we may just break through it and break down. So 53,000, 5,300 we can watch for a bounce, and then I think that's it. I can't really find a rejection really, it's too strong. But keep an eye, see where that is. And the next area of confluence is going to be this region here as well. So we've got lots of confluence there, tops and bottoms of candles. So we can watch 52.10, but we're a long way from down there, so I won't even consider that just yet. FOMC tomorrow, so we may see a big movement. Let's look at NQ next. Again, going sideways. Let's just draw in that level. I'm sure I've done this already. So I quite like the bounce at 18,980. That's where we are right now. Pre-market low. If we break, oh, you know what? I don't really. Again, it's hard to go short. We can watch for the breakout over this pre-market high, break and retest long. And let's look at daily volume. It's below. It's about average volume for the daily. Not the highest volume we've seen, but it does look like we're just taking time off the clock. We're just resting at the moment on lower volume before we're going to make another move up potentially. So got to try and be bullish. So I quite like the bounce down in that region, and that region is 18,950. Let's go back to the hourly. 18,980. So this area here, I quite like the bounce, so we can keep an eye on this region. I'm going to draw in a. So last time we were there, we had a bit of a reaction. So that's the area I'm watching for a potential bounce. And let's just put my alert in. And again, you could watch the break and retest the pre-market high, yesterday high, over the all-time highs. I believe that's all-time highs. It is. And so just mark off that area so we know. 19,151 is all-time highs, and potentially no man's land above. Let's look at QQQ. QQQ. So best area I can see is this area we've already defined, and that's 460.67 through to 461.50. So that's still on the cards. I quite like that area for a bounce. Next best area is down here at 452. There's a few levels I've marked up as well. We can keep an eye on as well. Let's just mark that one. So we can watch 460.34. There's a bit of a volume shelf there. It's not great. It's a high risk 458. And then I prefer down here 452 to 453 area for a bounce. Oil, it's been on a bit of a run recently. Look at that, coming right in. I was looking for a rejection in this area, but it never really happened. But we're right up the point of control now as well. So if we are going to reject, maybe this area was not good enough. But this is where the volume is. You can see that here on the point of control. And we've got bottoms of pivots, tops of pivots, so area of confluence. We kind of rejected yesterday as well, so potentially we can either see two things here. We're going to see a move down, or we're setting up a bit of a bull flag for the breakout. So if we can get above pre-market high, I quite like that for a break and retest long, break of the bull flag. Should kind of try to break out in the pre-market. Otherwise we can watch down here for the bounce, yesterday's low off of that top of that pivot, and we've got the 50 and we've got the 200 moving average coming over in that area. Gold, I had an alert go off today. What's the alert? Probably would have been up here somewhere, so I think it was the break and retest, but I was away, so I was out. And look at that, perfect, came in, it retested it and rejected it. So that's where the alert was, on that line. We can still watch that area for rejection. I think that's gone now. But we're coming into a bit of a bounce area now, potential bounce area. And so we can probably watch, I'll probably keep it as 23.22 all the way up to 23.29 for a bounce. We can consider the rejection over here again at 23.43 to 45, and that's purely because we've got another area of confluence and we've got a bit of a volume shelf above. The first bit of volume kicks in, so the rejection down here was on a lower volume area, which is where we rejected it today, but that was based on these two pivots here. So I quite like 23.43, 23.45 for the rejection. We're still below the 200 moving average, but we are breaking over the 50 right now. That's a big sell-off there. Yeah, so let's watch this area for rejection, and then bounce wise we can watch this area for the bounce as well. Next up is RTY, which is the Russell 2000. We've been watching this channel for some time now. I haven't seen any movement on the outsides. It's been looking more bullish in this channel. Did come out of it, come back out, it was flipped, so flipped the channel a bit, back in the top half of that channel. As for some levels, that area there, and it's an area exactly where we are right now for a bounce. So you could say we've got that inner channel. So watch this area right now for a bounce, 2019, and then we can watch for the direction in and around this 200 moving average at the top of this channel and top of that trend line as well. So our rejection will be up here somewhere at 2048 to 2050, and that's it. We can watch for a bounce also if we come back down into the bottom end of this channel. So at the moment we're just playing this channel, so it's maybe try and take advantage of that. YM, we've got 5 minutes before the market opens. Just putting in a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. Oh, that's a big thick pen. Let's get that down. If we break pre-market low and yesterday's low, we can look for the break and retest short. We'll be below this 200 moving average. If on the other hand we break above yesterday's high and pre-market high, both happen to be in the same place, we can look for the break and the breakout, the break and retest long. Both areas are pretty good. I do like this area. Let's just go to the daily to look at volume. I do like that area there, 38,711. And let's look at the daily volume. Still pretty bullish. Put in a double top. Maybe we could see it joining up to make that type of pattern eventually if we see this play out. Indecision, hard to say. Below all the averages on the daily as well, so we've got to favour the rejection rather than the break and retest. But we are potentially coming into this trend line as well, so we could look for a small scalp, or at least be wary that there could be a trend line coming up if we reject. But I do quite like the rejection there, so, and that's my probably only play. Look at that, we've got volume below as well, so we've got a potential target if we can't push down as well. And then finally we'll look at Bitcoin, still trying to get over this 71 area, hasn't been able to, hasn't really been able to hold above that area, so it's breaking down as well. We've got this big solid candle today as well, negative candle, but coming into the 50 moving average, we watch for a bounce. If we don't hold this level, as you can see, there's a bit of an area of confluence. Let's move that down. So that's our area of confluence. If we lose that level, then the next level's down in this region at 60,000. So we can watch 60,000 for a bounce. I'm going to update that level there, like that. And where's that? It's just over 60. And that's it really. Let's quickly look at ES, see if anything's changed in the last few minutes. Doesn't look like it has. Takes ages loading. I don't know if that happens to anybody else. I have to wait. Maybe I'm too impatient. Go to the hourly, see where we are. Yeah, so basically nothing's really changed. Below all the averages. So we can watch for the break and retest of this neckline. Yesterday's low is probably the preferred area. So break, retest, short. We've got a potential target there, but there's not much volume in that area. So we could see the 200 or this area, or the volume starting to come into this area. So we can watch 53.12 for a bounce, 53.31 for a bounce, and then the break and retest of 53.50. We can also watch it for a bounce as well, because it's bounced there, it's bounced there, it's bounced here. So there's no reason why it won't bounce a fourth time, but it might be losing its momentum a bit. And then again, pre-market high, yesterday high, we can watch for the break and retest long into all-time highs. That can be first target. Or we can look for the rejection up there as well. Okay, thank you for watching. Let's just quickly look at order flow. The order flow is live right now as well on the other stream. And trade safe. Thanks for watching.